welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we'll be making this gorgeous Christmas sampler that is ready to go into a 12 by 12 inch frame, and it'll look great on your wall for Christmas time. It's also a really nice present to give to somebody for Christmas as well. So for this project we'll mostly be using the Trimming the Town suite, and particularly the Trimming the Town Designer Series paper that will make up most of our sampler today. So I'm going to start with some Night of Navy cardstock, and I did consider waiting and getting a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock because I want this to go in a 12 by 12 frame, but I was a bit impatient, so I've decided to tape together two pieces made out of A4 cardstock. So A4 cardstock is about 11 3/4 inches long. So then I've chopped it so that each piece is 5 7/8 inches wide, so that we can get something that's near enough 12 inches. It'll be 11 3/4 inches square, so that'll go fine in my frame. And I'm just going to literally get some sellotape and tape it down the middle. And because we're going to cover it all up, then you won't really notice the seam too much, especially not once it's in a frame on the wall. So if you've got a 12 by 12 sheet of Night of Navy cardstock, then that would be best, but we're going to make do with this today. So then we want to start decorating it. So this is going to be our base. We want to start decorating it. So I'm going to use white as an outline and the papers from the pack to fill this sheet. So I've got this white piece for the middle, and that measures 6 3/4 inches square. Then I've got 13 of these squares. They all measure 2 1/8 inches square, so they'll go around the outside like this. So I'll have 5 on each side. So I've got 13 of those, and they'll go around here. And then I've got this piece for the bottom, and that measures 6 6/8 of an inch by 2 1/8 inches. So then I'm going to mat each of those with some pattern paper from the pack. So I've got 13 of these. So these each measure 2 inches, and so they will go on top of those. So that's the piece of paper with the trees on the front and the spots on the back. And if you prefer a different piece of paper, then you can always do that. So I've got 13 of those to go around the outside, and I've got this piece that is 6 5/8 inches by 2 inches. Now I just want to show you this as a little tip to make your papers go further. So I want to use this lovely mountain background for the centre, but I don't want to cut up this big piece of paper because I've already cut this up to get some stuff for another project. But I want to create my own hills at the bottom of here, so I don't actually need the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece that's about this long, so I'll just measure that on my trimmer. So I'll probably go with about 4 inches. And then I need it to be 6 5/8 inches wide. So I'm just going to pull this round. This is just my extender arm, so I can measure longer widths. So that needs to be 6 5/8 inches. And I'll cut that off there. So that will go on there. And then I'm going to cut some hills to go on here. So I've got this piece of Whisper White cardstock, and that is the same width as this, so 6 5/8 inches. And I'm just going to by hand cut some hills from that. So there's one hill. Now I'm going to cut across here with my trimmer, so I've got a hill that will go the other way. And then I want one more hill to come this way, and then that will create this nice snowy scene. So I'm not going to stick these snowbanks on yet, because I want to build that up with the picture. I'm just going to add on this bit to the background, and I'm going to stick all of these pieces onto here, and I'm also going to stick them onto this blue background sheet. So I'm just going to speed through that because you don't want to watch me doing all that gluing. Now to stick them all down, I'm just going to lay them out first to make sure I'm happy with the spacing, and then I'll stick them down. There we go, that's the base of our sampler done. So now it's time to do the fun bit and start decorating it. So I've got quite a lot of elements here that I've cut from partly this piece of paper and partly this piece with all the houses on. So I'm going to arrange some of those on. So some little houses. I think I want a big tree in each corner. I'm going to use this piece with the person with the presents, and maybe I'll stick a little tree on that as well. These bigger houses I'll use for the middle piece. So I'm going to cut out another tree from this corner. And if you have the die set for this, there is actually a tree die in here that fits with these bigger trees. You can fit that over like that. But I'm just going to cut it by hand this time. So I've been cutting things by hand because I don't really know, I've not really known what I wanted. I didn't have a massive plan before I started. But if you do know what you're going to do before you start, then the dies are absolutely a much quicker way to do it, because there's dies to fit with a lot of the houses as well. So you see this die fits with these houses. This die will fit with those ones. Then there are some big ones like this as well on the sheet. I've just not got any of them here. And this smaller one goes with these little ones. So you can absolutely, and look, this cuts out these smaller trees as well. So you can, if you know what you're doing, go wild and just cut a load out. If you used all the different dies, you could do a tree in each size and 4 different houses all in one pass through the machine, so it would be quicker. But as I said, I didn't really know what I wanted before I started, so I've just been kind of cutting things out and seeing where they go. Then I've got that for there, and then I want some cars with trees on the top to go here, so for that I'm going to use the stamp set. So I don't want the outline to be too bold. I don't want to use a black because none of the outlines on these are particularly bold, so I'm going to use basic grey. I'm just going to use the scrap of paper that we've got left from when we were cutting our hills. I've actually just spotted, which I overlooked before, this this nice lamppost as well, which I might do one of. So I need 2 cars. And do 2 lampposts as well. I'm actually just going to do a 3rd card just to get that wheel a bit darker. Yeah, so I'll use those 2 cards. Now I've just got my Poppy Parade Stampin' Right marker. I'm going to colour in my cars. I've also got my crushed curry marker, which I'm just going to do to add a little bit of light in here. I've got basic grey marker just to do the trim on the cars. Then I'm just going to use Pool Party for the windows on the cars. Now there's a die to go with these cars, but it's quite a simple shape. My die cut machine's in the other room, so I'm just going to cut them all out. So unfortunately my camera cut out a bit there, but you can see I've just laid out all the pieces on here that I want to use. So here are the pieces that we've just cut out. Everything else you've seen apart from this bit at the top. Those I just cut from the sentiments on this piece of paper. I've just tied a bow with this All the Trimmings ribbon, the Poppy Parade one. So I'm just going to have that at the top, and then I'm just starting to stick things down. So I've started sticking the bottom layer of our snow. Then I'm just popping some dimensionals on for the next layer. So I'm going to use a box frame for this. So I want dimension because I want it to look nice within the box frame. But if you're using a flat frame for yours, you can just use glue for everything and then it will fit inside a flat frame. And I'm just going to line this up just so that I know roughly where it's going to go, because I want to stick all the other bits onto this. So I've got this piece that I cut from the same piece of paper as this. I'm just going to stick that down there. Now I just want to tuck these couple of houses behind as well. And then I'm going to stick this along the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double up dimensionals across the bottom, because across the bottom it will need 2 layers to put it above this layer. So I'm going to put double sets across the bottom. So I'll peel the top off that one and put another one on here. So if you've not had these dimensionals before, you get 3 sheets to a pack. So you get a lot in one pack. And they're really easy to pick up because they're hexagons instead of squares. Seems to make it easier to just get a hold of them. Then I'm just going to put some single layers across the top. I think that'll do. So I'll line that nicely up around the bottom. And I'm going to add on my other houses down here. I'm just going to grab one of the little trees off here. I'm going to pop a little dimensional on the back of there. I might use some small ones for this. Now I'm just going to scatter some of these little trees about. So the other thing that I did while the camera wasn't working was that I just stamped this Merry Christmas from the Tag Buffet stamp set in real red ink onto a piece of Whisper white cardstock that measures 6 inches by 1¼ inches. And I just cut out 2 of these trees from this same piece of paper as this one with all the houses on to sit either end. So now I'm just going to glue all this down. So anyone that watches my videos regularly will know that I like to use glue dots when I'm gluing down bows, just because they catch nicely. So I'm going to use that to stick my bow up here. And I'm going to use some of these little dimensionals just to add this on. Luckily these small dimensionals are just the right size to fit on these paper strips. You have to be quite careful so they don't hang over the edge. finish off by popping some of these little yellow stars from all the trimmings embellishments on the top of the trees in the corners. So that's that completed now. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. I hope you've enjoyed our project for today. If you did, I'd be really grateful if you would click like below. And if you'd like to see future projects, you can always click subscribe. If you click the bell button as well and select all, then you'll get notifications when new projects come up on my channel. All of the products that we've used in today's video will be linked in the description below. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to link the actual whole suite, because you can use this number here to buy the papers that we've used, as well as all the trimmings and the stamp and the die set. But I'll also link all the things individually as well, just in case you just want to buy some of the products. I'll also pop in a host code, and if you put the host code into your basket before you check out, then I'll send you a free gift at the end of the month. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.